Hello, this is Mark Ellis, the trusted real estate advisor. I'm here waiting on a termite inspector to show up. So I want to address the 50-year mortgage idea that made headlines last week. First of all, it does not exist. We may never see it come to the market. And to be specific, we're referring to a government-backed 50-year loan. In private financing, lenders can create all kinds of terms. There could be a 50-year loan against a property right now as we speak, but that would be private financing. For a government-backed loan, we've never seen 50 years. It's a very long time. You imagine a first-time home buyer, as an example, and they originate a mortgage loan at age 30 to buy a home. If they were to keep that loan for 50 years, they would pay it off at 80 years old, assuming that they live that long, right? They would have to live that long. So there's a lot to unpack when you think about a 50-year commitment. So my short answer is, do I recommend a 50-year mortgage? Probably not. I don't think so. In most cases, no. The terms of the loan are very important, though, because if there is not a prepayment penalty, I can see people using that loan as leverage for short-term situations. That is something that could make sense in certain situations. But for people to just take out a 50-year loan, I'm not excited about it. What I do accept, though, is in 50 years, the asset, which is the real estate, should appreciate in 50 years. When we look at the historical home values over the past 50 years, we can see that real estate values appreciate over time. And so we definitely want that to happen over the course of 50 years. But the truth is, most people don't even keep a loan for 30, right? Most people take out a 30-year loan. There is a 20-year loan out there. There is a 15-year mortgage loan out there. And without a prepayment penalty, the truth is you can create whatever payment plan you want to create. You can accelerate your payoff. You choose the time in which you want to pay off a balance, calculate the payment, and start making that payment every month until you pay it off. So there's an advantage there when you do not have a prepayment penalty. Now, there are people out there that have owned a home for more than 30 years and they still have a mortgage balance. Not the same loan that they started with, but people will refinance their home. And many times they reset the 30-year clock. Other times they're not only doing that, but they're borrowing more money against the equity, right? The value of the home. So whether they're in the same loan for 50 years or not, there's people out there that have a 50-year commitment when you think about it, because if they paid on a loan for 20, then they refinance that, and then that second loan they've been paying on for 10 years, now they've refinanced that one, they've got this new 30-year loan. Well, guess what? That's a combined total of 60 years of mortgage payments if it were to be paid out, right? If the loan were to be paid out or paid off in its entirety through monthly payments. Another way to pay off a balance, of course, is to sell the property. So there's 3 ways to pay off a mortgage balance. One is through monthly payments, right, until the balance is paid off. The other is a refinance, right, where a new loan pays off the old loan. The new loan will have its own rate and term. And then the third way to pay off a mortgage balance is to sell the property. So many times people are paying off a balance through a refinance or through selling the asset. People are older, they pass away. If they're wise, they have a trust with a successor trustee, and there's beneficiaries to that trust. So somebody will inherit that property. Yes, they also will inherit the debt, so to speak. The debt won't be in their name, but the debt will be attached to the property. And so if the people who inherit the property cannot continue making the monthly payments and all the payments associated with maintaining that home, taxes, insurance, maintenance, then they'll sell it. They'll sell it and pay off the mortgage balance. Otherwise, they'll keep the house and, they either will occupy it or rent it out. And so a 50-year loan may be paid off through 2 generations, maybe through 2 generations, or it may be through the selling of the asset. So I can see some people would probably take out a 50-year loan if it meant that was the way that they could secure the property. If that was a way for them to get started with ownership of real estate and they were qualifying for a loan based on that 50-year term as opposed to not qualifying for a 30-year term, some people would probably take the opportunity. And then as time goes by, their employment and their income improves. They can refinance into a 30-year loan or a 20-year loan or a 15-year loan. It all depends on how life goes. Maybe there's a co-borrower, right? Maybe there's a single person that buys a house for the first time. They take out a 50-year loan, they get married. Now they've got, 2 people that are working. You combine the incomes and together they actually can refinance the house. And now, yes, the payment goes up, but they're paying off the mortgage balance sooner, not paying as much interest. And that's a game plan that a couple could take on. So there's different scenarios I can think of that would cause someone to assume a 50-year loan, but they probably wouldn't keep it for 50 years. That's my thoughts. Let's see if it comes to the market. It may not. There's some other ideas being tossed around right now in terms of creating new mortgage opportunities to make housing more affordable or helping people sell and buy a replacement home. Some people don't want to give up these 2 and 3% interest rates they have on these mortgages, and that's what's preventing them from making a move. So it seems like there's some ideas being tossed around to help people make a move, right? And actually keep the current interest rate that they have. So we'll see what comes of it. I'll keep you guys current on what's happening. As always, get in touch with me with any real estate questions. This termite company is here, so now I can stop running my mouth. But call me. I'm always here to help. I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. I'll talk to you soon.